In 1987, a young Labour politician called Tony Blair was about to derail his own career before it had properly started. At a press conference during the general election campaign, Blair departed from a script and described the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, as unhinged. The journalist's ears pricked up immediately. I'm sure ITN's political editor was already sharpening his pencil. The story was going to lead the 10 o'clock news. Standing nearby was a 33-year-old television producer turned Labour communications director called Peter Mandelson. He walked over to the press pack and reframed the story on the spot. Blair wasn't questioning Thatcher's mental state. No, of course not, he said. He was describing her policies. And besides this, he was a newcomer who was surely going places and someone the press would want to keep on side. It worked. Blair survived. And Mandelson later wrote that this incident helped him establish his reputation as, and these are his own words, Britain's original spin doctor, someone who could fix the news. That ability to see a story before it became one and then quietly reshape it was the foundation of everything that followed. Now, Mandelson is in the news again after revelations that when he was appointed UK ambassador to Washington at the end of 2024, he had already failed his security vetting. The Foreign Office used exceptional powers to overrule the decision. They wanted him anyway. And to understand why, you need to understand what he actually was. He was more than just a politician. He was, whether you like it or not, arguably for nearly 4 decades, one of the most skilled operators in British public life. He helped found New Labour alongside Blair and Gordon Brown in the mid-1980s, turning a party that had lost 4 consecutive elections into one that won 3 in a row. But he resigned from cabinet twice, once over an undisclosed loan, once over an allegation of improper influence over a passport application. Blair brought him back both times. When Labour lost in 2010, he didn't disappear. He set up a consultancy, took a senior advisor role at Lazard, joined boards, stayed in the Lords, and kept building his network. So when Keir Starmer was rebuilding Labour in opposition, Mandelson ended up advising him too. In his memoir, The Third Man, which was published back in 2010, he explained his philosophy very plainly. He wrote that he was drawn to people whose achievements and strong personalities made them interesting company. That he judged people by their character and personal qualities rather than on how they were perceived by others. And then he added, I make no apology for that. I'm a restless soul. It's a revealing sentence, really. It's not arrogant exactly, just honest. Because that same instinct to value what people could do over how the world saw them was the source of his power and eventually his undoing. It made him an extraordinary world-class networker. It also meant he kept company with Jeffrey Epstein long after a reasonable person would have walked away. Now, the Epstein connection cost him his ambassadorial role, his place in the Labour Party, his seat in the Lords, and he's now undergoing a criminal investigation by the Met Police. And the vetting story adds one more detail. The system that protected and promoted him over the years, that overruled its own security services to keep him in post, knew exactly what it was doing. They calculated that his reach was worth the risk. Of course, that calculation turned out to be wrong, but the fact that serious people made it tells you more about how power in Britain actually works than almost anything else I can think of. I'm Gavin Megaw. If you find this of interest, please follow and share, and I'll be back soon with more stories behind power and reputation. See you next time.